Hi, I'm Morayo with GoWP and welcome to Creating Happiness. Today we are speaking with Mr. Jay Mena from Mint Virtual, and we're going to learn more about his business, his goals, and how GoWP is playing a role in helping him achieve those goals and helping to create a little bit of happiness while he's doing business.
A lot of happiness, a lot of it.
Well, that's awesome. So welcome, Jay. Thank you so much for agreeing to chat with me this morning, today.
Mint Virtual was born out of a burning question, which was, what the hell do I do now? And basically with the uncertainty, about what the future held professionally, as many of us dealt with in 2020, I found myself laid off and had plenty of time to either be sad or to do something about it, right? So Mint Virtual was me doing something about it, and that's really how I got rolling. With my past experience and with my previous position, I there are a number of skill sets that I was able to develop and build on, and the idea was to how do I build around those skill sets and offer the best service that I can and deliver the greatest value to clients, and that primarily involves from systemization and processes to management support for agencies.
Mm-hmm. And you talked about the skill sets that you gained with your previous agency. Can you just talk a moment about what you found most transferable and what you're able to, what areas where you've even grown with your current client base?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I have to say that almost in that agency, almost all the skill sets that I worked on, developed, and built upon there, they were all transferable, really. I mean, basically, everything from project management to account management and all the components of what an agency typically has, right? But I think that what was amazing about that is that my previous experience, where I had similar experiences I didn't even realize would transfer well in this space until I was in that, I had that opportunity to transfer some of that into the agency space, and then working with the agency in all those areas obviously compounded those skill sets.
It's funny how life prepares us in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, previously I owned a tire shop. I owned remodeling companies previously. So there was a lot of, from project management to team management that, had to, that actually were amazing experiences to transfer over. So you're right. You never know, what you're preparing for with your, actual experiences.
You just gather the skills along the way and put them and keep them in your pocket.
Yes.
One goal or benefit of the services that you deliver fits a trend that I see the more business owners like you that I meet. I love on your site when you talk about your services, you say, well, I might not get the quote verbatim, but you say essentially that the E in executive, oh wait, no, that's not what you say. You say something to the extent that E in executive does not stand for everything or everywhere.
Everything, it should stand for, for executive, right? So, and that's what we intend, for all of us who are small business owners, and we go into this saying, okay, I'm going to, take on this project and grow it and lead a team. And we see ourselves as CEOs as well, we should. But often we find ourselves not doing CEO work at all and doing everything but CEO work. And that's basically what I was alluding to, yeah.
But I love that, because that's something that I often hear from business owners. It's like they enjoy their business, their business, they're passionate about it, but their work-life balance is askew. And so it seems like you have really honed in, I always get those mixed up, honed in, I think, on helping your clients, your partners do what they do better, but live well in addition to doing.
Well, yes, and you know what the thing is too. It's not even a matter of just having it all figured out. It comes from my own pain, right? I mean, going through what a lot of these agency owners are going through is something that really helps me, connect and understand, how to navigate through what that feels like. I mean, it's an island when you're leading your small business, your agency, and going through that pain is what allows me to really take on the different problems they may have and have a deeper understanding of what they're going through.
And you mentioned, so you said you can feel as if you're on an island. And you, before you launched Mint Virtual, just over a year ago, am I correct on the timeline there?
Sure. Yeah.
You had gone from a larger agency where you had department heads that were, in charge of different things. And then when you made that brave choice to launch, your own business, your own endeavor, suddenly all of those hats were all piled on your head.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's working in a bigger agency that does have, directors and managers for different functions, different departments. It's amazing. Yeah. I at least was able to see how these amazing people did what they did enough to, when I went on my own, I had a high bar, of course, but at least I understood, what the components were and how I had to handle it. Now, the reality of it is that at some point you have to admit that, one, you can't do it all, and two, you're just not good at all of it. And you have to be honest with yourself about that. And I think that's that's part of it as well. That I try, part of what I like to drill into my my clients is that aside from at least they did the right thing of trying to get help to manage different parts of their operation, there are also different parts, that even more granularly, sections that can be outsourced to improve efficiency and productivity, right? So that's understanding that helped me, of course, and that's the nature of what I do. So I better figure that out, right? You would think. So at least I have that understanding to the point where I don't try to do it all. I know I shouldn't. And I know that I am not always the best person to solve a problem. There are some experts out there that can actually do it and, do a better job and more efficiently.
And you mentioned the word outsourcing, which I definitely want to come back to, and especially how GoWP was able to, fill a need for your business. Before we get to that step, and you've already alluded to it to some degree, some of those concrete challenges that you were facing with your new business, what would you say were the top two or three, if you had that many?
Top 10? Or just...
Let me get my paper ready to take notes here.
Well, no, there aren't that many, but they're very important ones. And well, the first thing that I had to tackle was, just putting together the right service around my skill sets. And I don't think that was as much, like, articulating that wasn't as much of a challenge as it was to do so under the pressure of the circumstances, right? Going back to what we were all going through and transitioning into, going for it on your own. So, I think it's the combination of the circumstances and actually putting all of that together. It's like watching a basketball player, sink 10 3-pointers in a row in practice. And then the shooting percentage changes when you hear, when they hear loud footsteps coming at them and with a hand in their face, right? Naturally. So in that sense, that was one part of, one thing that I had to deal with. But then another one, and I think this is probably even a bigger one, is, overcoming what I alluded to earlier, which is overcoming that truth that you need to understand when you need help. Okay, that's the first thing, is accepting that and saying, okay, I need to focus on the things where I am going to deliver the greatest value to myself and my company, and seeing how you can bring that help in. And that's where that was, I think, the gap I had to fill personally. That was a challenge. I think my number one challenge. Yeah.
So one morning, Jay Mena, small business owner, opens his eyes from his night of slumber and realizes today is the day that I get that help that I need to keep growing my company and expanding my services. And how did GoWP, did it come to you in a dream? how did GoWP, how did you discover us?
Yeah, well, it was actually, it was pretty easy because I got lucky. I was introduced to Brad, the founder. So I was introduced to Brad, and that was the first step. I knew after let's say 2 to 3 minutes, that I wanted to do business with this company. And that was how I was introduced to GoWP. It wasn't, um, you know, uh, their awesome web copy or or everything else, which obviously is there. I just had another route, and that's how it all started, really.
Our team took on some content edits for your sites and things like that.
Mhm.
And how long did it take you to ease into that, trusting us with delivering that service for you as your outsource partner?
Yeah, well, not long at all, because as soon as I mentioned meeting Brad, and then meeting some of the team, and they were awesome, and and then I got to a point of feeling very comfortable, and knowing that the more I learned about GoWP, and looking around and looking at the at the group, it became pretty clear that that this was a team that actually cared, about their clients, and it wasn't hard to find people that raved about what it's like to work with GoWP. So yeah, it was easy for me to go ahead and say, okay, this is awesome, let's do it. There wasn't I have to think about whether this is the right decision or not. I didn't go through that. In fact, I don't think it was a wise decision at all, because there was not much brain power involved. It was just, it felt right, and I jumped right into it.
I think that's a tagline I'm going to run by our marketing team. GoWP. There's not a lot of brain power involved. Jay Mena.
Well, depending on how you phrase that means, like you mean yeah, but yeah, no, I mean, honestly, it was probably one of the easiest decisions or purchases I've done before, because as nowadays you can easily get bombarded by messaging, and making a decision to buy anything nowadays can be a task. But yeah, but this was different, and the minute the work started, then I was immediately reaffirmed, like, okay, this is exactly what I expected. Yeah. Yeah, I felt like I finally had a partner that had my back.
That's awesome. That's definitely something we strive to do. It's great to hear that you feel like you have this team, that we are an extension of you, of Virtual. That's awesome.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, and I also want to say that, I mean, there's what GoWP does for my business internally, right? And then the what it offers for me to, by extension, offer it to clients, right? Because you see, I'm not a developer, so what I do isn't websites. That's what my clients do, right? So, but what it does do, however, is that if I'm engaged in a project with an agency, and as we're fine tuning and enhancing processes and systems, we may uncover opportunities for efficiency or productivity, or even bandwidth, or expanding bandwidth in the process. And that's where I feel like I have a huge tool in my toolbox, where I can say, okay, this is one option, this is one way we can go, and knowing that not only am I helping to strategize and map a system, but that we can say, okay, this component, we have GoWP for that, and having that there available to me for my clients is an amazing thing to have.
I also know that you are active in the niche agency owner group, and so that's another. You have commented and given feedback to other business owners who share some of their thoughts or challenges, or just want to vent some ideas or frustrations with other business owners. And I know you're active. You're an active contributor to that community, which is awesome. That you equally have our back too, because you are investing in the elements of community and programming that we are trying to establish as well.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad. And no, I love the group. I feel sometimes that I don't do enough. Like, I feel like I need to schedule more time in order to do this, because I feel like I get so much out of, not just GoWP, but the group itself as well, like specifically. GoWP delivers a lot of value there. have amazing, people, an amazing community of people, brilliant minds that are so generous in sharing within that group, and how GoWP handles the group and consistently delivers value and gives members an opportunity, a platform to actually to share and to, with other members. That's invaluable. That's invaluable. So I'm glad you appreciate whatever contribution I have made to this point, but I never feel like it's enough.
Oh, well, no, it's well appreciated. It's well appreciated.
I was able to, a project that I had projected would probably, take 8 to 12 weeks. And that was a reasonable amount of time. I was able to cut down, half of the time on the calendar and save time as well internally as far as, resourcing. So, and that's like the biggest thing. It's the different ways that working with GoWP has helped me is, being able to deliver a project sooner means I can take on more projects, of course, and it taking me less time to do, where all I was doing was project managing it primarily, and managing tickets, right, and doing all of that kind of work for the most part, made it where, where I provided a better experience overall, to my clients. So that was that I have to say is how it, how deeply GoWP impacts me and my business. I mean, time is money, right? And that's true for me, for myself, and for my clients. So that's been like the greatest experience for me.
That's great to hear. Great to hear.
One thing I wanted to add, if you don't mind, is that also when we have areas, our areas of, of expertise or genius, if you will, right, that we feel so comfortable and we know our stuff. And then there are other areas where, not so much. I mean, we have to do what we have to do, or we feel that we do, right? And there are some areas that, in those areas where we're not as confident, those are the ones that occupy the greatest area in your brain day to day. And that space, clearing that space is important as well, right? So now what happens is, you're not just saving time, but and which, yeah, you can say you're clearing up bandwidth, but it's what's happening in your head. You are not worrying about the thing that you shouldn't be worrying about in the first place, because you shouldn't be doing it. And that's another part, that really that I think is impactful.
Yeah. Going forward, what are Jay Mena's goals for Mint Virtual, and how does he, where are you going, and how do you want to use GoWP to get you there?
Well, first of all, I see GoWP as an essential partner for my operation internally, as well as for my clients moving forward. And with all the chatter of scaling and growing your business, it's as loud as it's ever been, and as well it should be. But the reality is, that a small team with, more opportunities than they can handle, perhaps. Some would say that's a good problem to have, but you would need the right partners to expand that bandwidth or fill capability gaps. And the thing about that is that timing is everything, as I may have alluded to earlier. And opportunities don't just show up when you're ready for them, right? They won't wait for you to find and hire a handful of new team members to get the job done. And so for me, I that's how I see it, is that as I look to deliver services to more agencies and make an impact to their operations, I see GoWP as a partner that I could not only look to help me with the services I've already used, of course, but as GoWP's services expand, as they are doing with the different services that have rolled out recently, with content and other services coming, that I know that that I'm going to be able to scale confidently, and know that I am going to be able to do that as quickly as I need to, which means if I'm going to to have an aggressive plan for, let's say, for next quarter, I know that if things go as planned, I know that I will have the help I will need to cover that, and to make sure I deliver good value, because the last thing you want to do is scale and then have quality go to hell. So,
Nice.
so, well, that's, so it's important to know that. But knowing that also, it's almost like, what comes first, right? It also allows me to go ahead and be more ambitious about what comes next and what I'm willing to put myself through, as I grow the business, is that knowing that I have that will allow me to say, you know what, yeah, I can do that. I'm going to go ahead and put that campaign together and go for it because I'm not alone.
Yeah, that's great. Jay, thank you so much for taking the time out of your very busy day
You're
to
welcome. Thank
talk.
you for having me.
Oh, sure, absolutely. I appreciate it. And thank you for really speaking to other owners who are looking for the same opportunities that you are experiencing. So thank you for joining us for this episode of Creating Happiness, and we hope to see you soon.
I hope so.
Take care.